in the pursuit of our knowledge and trying to gain knowledge, I think we have come across some very important legal topics and have discussed and tried to elaborate you regarding certain legal topics like FIR, public interest litigation, how to arrest, and some other legal topics in our video till now. But today, I'm going to diverge from my old way of trying to impart legal knowledge. But today, I'm going to tell you something very basic, but that can really come in handy if you are really preparing for something big. Yes, my dear friends, today, though the subject that I'm choosing, perhaps you all will understand or maybe may not understand the importance or the difference it can really create in your success and failure. My dear friends, I'm talking about newspapers. Yes, my dear friends, perhaps you all know that newspapers can really help you in trying to attain good knowledge, trying to analyze things, trying to see the pros and cons of various topics that you try to understand. If we try to understand the various exam pattern like UPSC or Provincial Civil Service, maybe a Judicial Civil Service exam, most of these exams cover a topic which is normally writing an essay. Then certain exams carry a weightage of around 200 marks, or maybe more. So for any person who is trying to prepare for any such exam, be it judicial, be it civil service, or even for other topics or other exams like SSC and other exams, all these exams do require understanding of various social, economic, political, geopolitical, diplomatic, international issues. And I personally feel that there is one thing that most of the students lack when they are really trying to prepare for those exams. I think it can sometimes create a basic difference, or maybe a difference in you succeeding or not succeeding. I think, my dear friends, if you really understand the importance of newspapers or trying to read newspapers on a regular basis. When I talk of regular basis, I want you to inculcate this habit of reading newspapers from class 8th, 9th or 10th. My dear friends, perhaps it may sound very different or I may sound amazing, not in good sense perhaps right now, but I must tell you, if you really inculcate this habit of reading newspapers on a regular basis, on a daily basis, since class 8th, 9th and 10th, I can guarantee you that if you just do well, if you just prepare one or two subjects, one subject right now as far as options are concerned in any civil service exam, the rest of the things can be covered, or most of the things can be covered by a continuous and relentless reading of newspapers. My dear friends, some of you may have a view that since we are already on social media, we already have a lot of influx of knowledge via social media, via YouTube, via other platforms. Though that is correct, but I still feel that if someone really inculcates, imbibes, attains this habit of trying to read newspapers, especially the editorial column, the front page, and sometimes the business page of your newspaper, then I can guarantee you that you will really strengthen your understanding of various issues that may come up for analysis, or as a or any question that may be asked in any of your exams. Even they can really come in handy when you are really preparing for your interview, because interview, it is basically a preparation, or it is basically a test of your personality. Though knowing about certain things is very important, but it is basically the analysis of a particular thing that really paves the way for your success, or it may become an impediment or a rider or a bottleneck in your success. So ultimately, as far as I understand, if you really inculcate this habit of reading newspapers, then I think the chances of you getting success in any of these exams really becomes manifold. Now let me tell you how it is really going to affect you in a long run. My dear friends, since when we read newspapers, I have personally gained from my own experience. Like, I can give you examples also. There are various terms. You may not be of a law field, or you may not be of an economic field, or you may not understand the basic nitty gritty of international relations. But I can assure you, if you continuously read newspapers, try to understand them, since as I told you from class 8th, ninth, and 10th, even on those topics which you may not have a clear understanding initially, but by a thorough reading of newspapers, by a continuous reading of newspapers, by a relentless reading of newspapers, you will slowly and slowly gain knowledge, gain access, gain access to various uh, the inputs of international relations, the inputs of economics, the various topics regarding geopolitical, or maybe sometimes about the current news, or all those topics. Especially, my dear friends, if I give you example, I started reading newspapers since 1996, and I can still remember. I think perhaps in 1996, this bill of Lokayukta, I think it came. Though I have been reading newspapers a bit before as well, but I can give you an example. This topic of Lokayukta was in great prevalence, and it was just spread everywhere. Since I was reading newspapers, I came across a line like "Justice delayed is justice denied," which was the theme of Lokayukta. Similarly, if I tell you, when you read newspapers, you really read a lot of topics which are covering political news, which are covering international relations, which are covering diplomatic relations between countries. Since in a lot of exams, we are asked to analyze the various pros and cons, the various uh, what you can call it, the various strongholds or the various important topics of any international relation, like India-Pakistan relation, Asian relations, G7 relations between countries, or maybe India's relation with US, China, Russia, or any other country for that matter. Since these geopolitical situations keep on changing, a better understanding really creeps up if you keep enhancing your knowledge, and if you keep reading newspapers in a long run. When you see the editorials in the newspaper, they really try to analyze things at great length. Reading newspapers, as all of you are already aware, actually I must not say, but just for the sake of it, I'm just trying to tell you that when you start reading newspapers, the first thing that really helps is in trying to increase your vocab. You gain access, and you try to understand various new words, that in the long run, when you start using it, your writing skills, your understanding skills, they keep on increasing. I must give you an example here. There is a word, there is a word in diplomatic relations which is called demarche. This is a word which normally keeps coming in newspapers. If I have to tell you what the meaning of demarche, this is nothing but a soft protest, or you can call it a protest in a diplomatic language. When a country is not happy by a certain action of another country, then what they normally do? They normally call the ambassador, or the this ambassador of that country, to their office, and normally issue a demarche. Demarche is nothing but an official protest of a certain thing. Similarly, we come across certain words like persona non grata. I'm just trying to give you examples. You don't need to be a lawyer, or you don't need to be a very very well read person to understand these things, because since these words keep on coming, keep on being repeated, keep on creeping in newspapers on a regular basis. As I was telling about persona non grata, this is nothing but trying to you know detach immunity from an ambassador or from any diplomatic person. So basically, these are the words that keep on coming. If I have to give you another example, I can give you an example of NPT, Non-Proliferation Treaty. If you could see, this is one topic that has really cropped up since last 30, 35, 40 years. There are nations who are already developed. and they have this nuclear capability. They wanted other developing nations not to get those capabilities. So a deal was signed wherein the new nations were asked not to go for nuclear weapons, or there were certain restrictions that were put in place, and they were pressurized to sign a treaty, NPT. To tell you something about NPT, it is basically a treaty which was signed in 1968, and in Russia, in Moscow, and thereupon, right now, as far as today is concerned, approximately 200 nations have already signed this treaty. But there are 4 or 5 nations which have still not ratified this treaty: India, Pakistan, this Korea, Sudan, and one more country, if I may remember. I'm just trying to tell you that if you really read newspapers, you will understand the basic knowledge. If you are asked a question in trying to analyze about should India sign NPT, then you have to give an answer, because in the long run, or for a question that is asked on geopolitical aspect of any uh, any country, or any political news, or any business news, there is not a one show short answer. Every answer can have pros and cons. So if you keep reading newspapers, if you keep reading under the various editorials that are written by very eminent people who understand the nitty gritty, who have the basic knowledge of that subject, then it can really give you a basic insight of what exactly the whole subject is about. And in a long run, you can really understand how the things are folding or unfolding. So, my dear friends, similarly, if I have to tell you that how the newspapers can really help you, I should tell you that, as I told you, they can always help you to increase your vocab, to write proper English. If I have to tell you, just recently there was a news wherein a issue of prosecution of MPs have come up. Basically, for any member of parliament to be prosecuted, a permission is required. Earlier, this permission was supposed to be taken from the Speaker of the Lok Sabha, or Speaker of the Rajya Sabha, or you can call it, or the other person is Lokayukta or Lokpal. Right now, there is a confusion that who is the prosecutor, who is the person, or who is the authority who can grant section before a prosecution case can be filed, or prosecution can be initiated against any parliament member or a MP. So this is one topic. I can give you various examples wherein, like when you think of even in COVID situation, you have seen countries trying to develop their own path, trying to you know plan their own foreign policy regarding this vaccination, regarding trying to give donations as far as vaccines are concerned, even trying to even in trying to implement their policies, whether first to vaccinate their own countrymen, or also to export vaccines on a humanitarian grounds. These are all the things that, if you really understand, if you really have some knowledge, then even if you do not understand much about that subject, but if that subject really comes in, crops up in any interview or in any essay, you can certainly join all the ingredients, all the various aspects of a particular topic, and you can really give a very good answer. Since now the whole word and the whole topic, everything is being converging. Now science is not isolated with arts. Now economics is not isolated with science. As you all know, even for the students who are basically the students of computer science, are this studying this artificial intelligence, machine learning, and all these things, they do also understand that ultimately all this computer science, all this artificial intelligence has to be used somewhere. It has to be used in the upliftment of our social strata, in the upliftment of people, in trying to ease the lives of people. So until unless we do not understand the social issues, we are not aware that what problems do we face. Similarly, in economics, when you read newspapers, you normally, you tend to read a lot of topics like CRR, what is CRR, what is FDI, what is FII. There are certain topics that keep on coming. The newspapers talk about Reserve Bank of India. They talk about foreign direct investment. They talk about the various caps that we have in FDI. the various lifting of caps, our capital, are we going towards capitalism, about the licensing laws, about various other topics of economics. You may not be an economic student, or I may not be an economic student, but if you keep on reading newspapers on a regular basis, I can assure you, my dear friends, that ultimately, in the long run, you are going to attain knowledge about various issues that can really come in handy when you are writing any paper or giving any interview or writing any essay in any of your exams. Apart from this, you are already aware that what other benefit this newspapers can really impart. And not only this, it also gives the basic thing or the basic benefit of reading newspapers. It always tends to give you the various pros and cons, because every issue has got some pros and some cons. Ultimately, you have to understand and you have to analyze. You have to know how to analyze things, and you have to understand the journey of various topics, how they have unfolded, and what their culmination would be. So, my dear friends, uh, since sometimes I may sound repetitive, but ultimately my basic aim is just to make sure and make you understand the importance of newspapers, because I do understand, I do feel that if you keep reading newspapers on a regular basis, I can assure you your guarantee of success can really increase many folds. And once you start reading the newspapers, you will have a better understanding of things, and then even your interest will develop. And with the other knowledge that is just coming from all sort of various quarters, ultimately it's all going to come in handy, and you are really going to come in flying colors. Thank you, my dear friends. This was just a general chat that I wanted to have with you. It was not something that you do not know, but I just wanted to tell you the importance that the newspapers have in trying to really shape our future or our career in a long run. Thank you, my dear friends. If you like my video, you can always share it, subscribe it, and give your views. If you want to ask any questions, though normally I try to make videos on current topics, on legal issues, legal knowledge, on various knowledge or various legal topics that may come in handy for general masses, and even for people who are trying to understand law from either from the knowledge point of view or just for the sake of curiosity. So thank you, my dear friends, for giving me time and listening to me, and having the patience to hear this long and viewing my this video. Thank you, my dear friends. Once again, I'll meet with some other topic. Till that, goodbye. Thank you. Take care.